Hey guys, good evening. Welcome to the Pivot Trade, the channel that teaches you how to benefit from trap traders and become profitable. And this is the price action analysis of the 30th of June 2022. And now we will start looking at Nifty first. So let's start analyzing how price did in Nifty. But before that, I want to make an announcement. I have actually started a Telegram channel for all of you, owing to the many requests that all of you had made to me about a Telegram channel. That's probably because not many people are really active on Twitter. So you can find the link in the description box below of the Telegram channel that I have posted and I've started. It's a Telegram channel to make it an educational channel. No tips or calls or live tips will be provided on the channel. It's just the same as the Twitter channel is being run. Okay, so it's basically for informative purposes and for teaching newcomers and to teach inexperienced traders how to gain knowledge of the movement of price. So basically to teach price action in the live market. So having said that, now let's move on to the price action analysis of Nifty for today. Okay, see, today the most important part that you should see is that the first candle itself opens at a CPR. And how is today's CPR? Today's CPR is extremely or quite narrow. It's quite tight. In terms of points, if you want to see, then the CPR is around 15 or 16 points. In yesterday's video itself, I had said that the price has really been going nowhere. It is just been going sideways, and since a long time now we are seeing such narrow, tight CPRs. The reason being that the price does not have much difference between the open and the close. See, the open was here and now the close is here. Okay, so not much difference between the open and the close, and extreme volatility between the open and the close. Okay, the price just keeps going sideways in a specific motion. It just keeps going up and down, and there is no real price action which is seen, which is really any use to us as price action traders. And price just does not give any specific signal. I mean, price does give signals. If you can read price, then it does give signals, but uh, there is really a lot of noise all between those signals. And that is what I'm interested in teaching you, how to reduce or how to minimize that noise that you see in between. A lot of newcomers and a lot of new traders do watch this channel. A lot of beginners watch this channel, and they are always concerned about the fact whether which candle was tradable. So I keep getting messages asking me which candle here was tradable, which candle there was tradable. So you have to understand that candles only at important locations are important. So now let's start with talking about which location was most important today. The most important location, I had said in yesterday's video also, is one, the CPR. The CPR here. The next important location is the PDH, and along with that, because the R1 pivot is so close to the PDH, it's also an important location, as well as the S1 and the PDL. So these are the most important locations for price whenever price opens within the previous day's range. And in Nifty and Bank Nifty, you will usually see that price will tend to stay within the previous day's range whenever it opens within the previous day's range, and usually will tend to stay within that range throughout the entire trading session. And now see, after you know that those are the most important locations, now where is price trading? Ask yourself, where is price trading? So if price is trading very close to or quite nearby in the vicinity of the CPR, that is one important location. Now what is the second important location? The second important location is where price opens and shoots right up to the PDH. You can see how PDH acts as a resistance. See here, you can see that the candle is very close to the previous day high, almost touching it, and you can see this particular wick down here. So now if you were to draw levels, which will be the most important levels for you? The candle's high here, which is almost at the PDH, and the candle's low here, okay, which is just below the CPR, as well as the candle's open, which is almost very close to the top central pivot. And what is the most important fact here that you see is that the CPR is pretty narrow. in terms of points as well as visibly. So if the CPR is very narrow, what does it immediately tell you? That it could be a trending day. Now if it is going to be a trending day, what sort of action are you supposed to, or are you, should you be on the lookout for? One is the breakouts. So breakout of an important range. What is the breakout from an important range? See, I've always said that the R1 pivot and the PDH here will act as twins most often. And so if the breakout had to be successful, it had to be successful at this level or below this level. So since we see that neither the S1 pivot nor the R1 pivot have been breached today, the price has stayed within the S1 and the R1 today. And you can see this particular pin bar here, which showed clear price rejection at the R1 pivot. So you could see that the R1 pivot was holding right at that moment when this particular wick, long wick, was printed on the chart. So in spite of such large green candles, and I also tweeted about it in the morning, if this is a very strong bullish candle right here, so if this is showing such bullishness, what does it show you? It shows that the R1 and the PDH should be easily broken, right? So if you see this particular candle being formed and it closes here below the DH, the PDH, and then you should know that the price should easily go and hit or close above the previous day high and the R1 pivot. But that doesn't happen. It shows you certain weak candles around the R1 pivot. You see that there is a strong candle at the previous day high, but you see a lot of weak candles around the R1 pivot here. Now that itself is a giveaway that the price itself is taking some pressure at that level. And obviously at that level we don't know, and nobody can say that the price is going to drop straight to the previous day or the day low or not. Like the day low is here, right? So we cannot be sure whether the price is going to come and fall to this level or not. But what we can be sure is that we see weak candles in this area. So are you going to jump in to the trade here while you keep your SL here? So that is the mistake that most retailers will do, most inexperienced traders will do. Instead, be professional in your approach. Instead of buying up here, reject this price. Tell the market that you don't want this price. I don't want. Reject it. Okay, I don't want. I am rejecting these prices. So I will not trade in these areas. Where will you trade? Now the best place to trade, is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Where is the best place to trade? See, you just said yourself that this is the CPR, right? So if you have to buy and this happens to be the place where the price opened, so either you can go ahead and buy here, or you can wait for the price to retrace back to this particular day low, and then you can see if you see any bullishness around that area. So that will be a good place to go and buy if you have to buy. So the problem here apart from that is that the CPR being narrow, it means that it will find it difficult to hold price at that level. Narrower the CPR, the signal being that the day would be trending. But nowadays we are seeing narrow CPR since almost a long time ago, and we are seeing that price has really been going nowhere in spite of narrow CPRs. So because the price doesn't go anywhere, the next day's CPR is narrow. Because the price doesn't go anywhere, it just keeps going sideways and is range bound, the next day's CPR is narrow. So finding a level where you can find some support after a long or a strong green candle has been formed right at the CPR is getting more and more devious. It's getting more and more dangerous these days, or it's getting more and more difficult, I would say, these days. Okay, so at this level, instead of buying on the high, decide that you want to buy at the low. That itself will solve most of your problems. I would say they'll solve 70% of your problems instead of going and buying here. So instead of thinking of this as a buy signal, think of the fact that if you see any retracement around this area, and if you see some candle like this right at the low, now this candle has not been printed at the low. Is this area important? Yes, I just said that this area is important because you have the open right at that area. Okay, so if you were to see this candle here at the as the standalone candle here, so I'll just mark it in a rectangle here. because it's an important candle. Okay, so if this green candle here is an important candle, it is important from the point of view of the first candle's open being here. Okay, so you could go ahead and go long on this particular candle. Even if you had gone on that candle or long on that candle, it was not a wrong trade, in which case you should look to take your profit at the R1 pivot. That is also okay, because you have the CPR right here. But the problem remains that the CPR is not wide, and you can deploy this strategy more often on wider CPR days. What does wider CPR day means? That the day will be like this, frankly speaking, that the day will be like this. But since we have a narrow CPR, we cannot really be too sure whether the price will go up from here, whether it will bounce, or it will break the CPR and fall below, or it will crash below. So basically this is a very strong bullish sign. And if the candle opens like this, and if it's not this long a candle, but if it is actually opening right at the central pivot and the price is being rejected like this, then it is a very strong sign, and even in the first candle you can take a long trade, and in that case you have to pick up your profits at the previous day high, or you can take a short trade if this is exactly reverse, and then you can take your profit at the previous day low if it's a red candle that is opening at the CPR. Okay, that is also one sort of trading that you can do if you are a CPR based trader. So that was one good trade to have been taken, but then you can see that the first candle itself had achieved the entire level, and going long here and taking your profit right at the previous day high with a SL this big is absolutely foolish. So what kind of risk reward is that? It is no risk reward. It is absolutely almost nil reward compared to the risk. So that is not a trade to be taken. Now you can see that the price had actually already gone so much, so obviously the bulls will be exhausting themselves somewhere around this area if these strong resistances are not broken, right? And that is one reason why new and novice traders get trapped in this kind of a scenario where they see big green candles and inexperience allows them to jump into that candle itself. Okay, so this kind of price action here is just inexplicable, and forget about the noise here. Just try to read these candles here. Forget about these candles. You don't want to go short here. You just have to read the price action here. What does this kind of price action show you? That after such big green candles, the bulls are getting exhausted. So exhaustion is setting in, and it means that higher prices will not be accepted by the bulls. So a rejection of price has started or might start, and so the price might go down. So that will prevent you from going long here. And then where is the next important area? This is not the important area. Forget this area. The very next important area is this here. So forget the noise in this area completely. These are not important areas at all. Important location is the most important when you are trading. Okay, so location does not, nothing beats location. It's actually location that gives you the correct entries. So this is the right location. Wait for this location to be achieved. Okay, so as I said, this could have been a good entry signal, but then if you are trading on that strategy, then if you are keeping your SL below this and going long here, and your target should be this area, let's call this the target, and this is the entry, and this is your SL, then today your SL would have been taken out. Okay, and that is one criteria on which you should be trading. Now another criteria is whether you should be taking a trade based on the breakout of CPR. Now where is the breakout of CPR? If this candle is creating a new low, then this is the low. Instead of here, you should be placing a low here because the candle wick is here. The next candle wick is here, so this is the new low, and after this particular wick was formed, your new low would be this low here, right? And now you can see that this particular candle here had broken out of the CPR. It had also broken out of this particular candle's low here, but there was never a breakout trade today. There could only be a reversal trade today. Why do I say that? For that, we have to look at Bank Nifty. Look at Bank Nifty from this area. This is 12:10 p.m. right? So this is the 12:10 p.m. candle in Bank Nifty. Okay, this being the 12:10 p.m. candle in Bank Nifty, you can see how Bank Nifty had stayed above this particular range the entire day. It did not even come back and touch the CPR. It was trading in such a narrow range today. Bank Nifty kept trading in an extremely narrow range today, and it was really not going anywhere at all. And so what if this particular huge green candle provided support to it at any of these particular levels? Then what would happen? Then Nifty's trade would definitely fail, and that is exactly what we have seen in Nifty today. You can see here that the 12:10 p.m. candle, after it was breaking out of the CPR, then such weak candles were formed, and then with a big green candle, boom, this candle actually took out the SLs of many players who had gone short on this particular candle, thinking that it would be a big move to the downside from here. And that is why we saw some short covering in this area here. And then again the price went into some stability here. It actually was volatile but and choppy, but it was at least sideways, and then it towards the end of the day it made back-to-back red candles and came crashing down. So we are not really seeing any movement in price that can really be of any use to directional traders in the market these days. That is okay. Forget about the fact that you're not getting entries, or the fact that you're getting your SLs hit. If you're getting your SLs hit in spite of trading the right way, then you really don't need to worry about it. Okay, just ensure that you are starting to read price action, and that is the reason why I have been teaching you price action in the live market and in all these videos. Ensure that you start to actually read through these videos and understand these videos thoroughly. Okay, we don't have any important levels per se to be marked today. We don't even have any version CPR. We don't have any demand and supply zones, so we will just simply extend these levels forward. This day was an extension of yesterday, so whatever levels we had marked yesterday, those are the levels that we will persist with even today. Okay, and if you want to mark it, see from the PDH, that is the previous day high, you can see that the price has actually come down about 160 points in Nifty. Okay, so you can probably mark the PDH as a strong or a supply zone at least, because the price has fallen from there, but it doesn't really give us a big indication of a huge crash or anything like that. Okay, so intraday based on price action, that doesn't look to my eyes to be an important level which should be marked, but PDH and PDL are anyway important levels to be marked, so you can keep marking it. So it's about 160 points there, and so you can probably go ahead and mark it. You can probably mark it in a red dotted line also. That will also be done, because the price action doesn't really show us that it is a major crash. You could see how the buyers or the bulls were providing strong support to price all throughout the fall. Okay, now let's head over to Bank Nifty. Let's see what Bank Nifty did today and the important levels in Bank Nifty. So right off the bat, you can see that Bank Nifty had actually opened right at the previous day low, and you can easily understand that the previous day low is providing some support to price. You don't know if it's strong or weak at this point, but you can at least see that the price was rejected at this level after opening here. And again, since a very tight CPR in Bank Nifty, you are expecting a trending day, but then after this particular blast from here, the price comes down, 50% of the movement is taken out, and then immediately the price starts to go in a particular tight range itself. It doesn't really go anywhere. Okay, so no real explanation to price action. We saw that the virgin CPR coming from yesterday here and the R3 pivot being at the same level acted as a strong resistance today, and the price shot up from here to here, and then it came down crashing from there. And the most important levels at that point would be this particular day's high, this particular day's low, as well as the PDL, which are at the same level, and also the fact that the CPR is narrow, but it lies right within the first or the opening candle's range itself. So it's a very bullish sign when the candle opens below the CPR, breaks right through and closes right here. So at that time you can always keep your targets at the PDH, like I said in Nifty. But today, since the candle itself was very big, the candle that had opened below, that is the first candle, the candle that had opened below the CPR and closed here was very close to the PDH, so it was a very poor risk to reward ratio. And you can see how Bank Nifty had gone through all these levels that were previously marked. So these levels are no more important, and they were never going to be important anyway. That is why they were marked in dots. So the dots are levels which have already been retested, okay, and that is why they have been marked in dots. So we will not have a virgin CPR today. The first candle has gone through it, but we definitely see a bounce coming from the PDL level, and we had marked that area in dots since yesterday itself. So the PDL is the same as of yesterday, and I would suggest you just keep the dotted line going, and if you want you can keep another dotted line ready from today's price action low as well. So today's low, that is also okay if you add another green candle to the mix. Going to the 15-minute time frame, you can see how price has just traded within a tight range today. Again, we have an extremely tight CPR in Bank Nifty. It's just a single line. Since so many days we have been seeing a tight CPR in Bank Nifty, and yet price just keeps going up and down in the same area. We don't see any trend anywhere, and so since the price has traded within the same area, we will be marking the same levels or carrying forward the same levels as we have marked since yesterday. No real difference in those areas, okay. And so what we will do is we will leave the levels as they are here at this point, and there is one level here which I can see that price has retested, so that level we don't need to mark. We can see that on the 15-minute time frame also that price has taken resistance at this level twice, but since it's an intraday level and it was not important in today's price action, it doesn't make any sense to mark that level, because I don't think personally that the level will be of any importance going ahead. But if you think so, you can please definitely go ahead and mark these levels if you are trading on the same patterns as I am trading. Okay, so I think this will be all for the price action analysis of Nifty and Bank Nifty and the explanation of the same, and I hope this is clear to you. Please do definitely go ahead and join the Telegram channel. As I said, I'll leave a link in the description below, so you can pick it up from there. Also, I have left links to all my older videos and important videos in the description section below. Please go ahead and check those. I've also left links in the description box below to the books that are most important, which you should be going ahead and reading for information and knowledge reasons and educational purposes, so that your journey on the stock market can begin, or at least can be enriched. So I think this is it for the analysis of Nifty and Bank Nifty, and if you've liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified each time I post a new video. Also, do leave your comments in the comment section below. I love reading your comments and I make it a point to reply to all of them. Thank you guys for your patience, and I'll catch you in the next one, that is tomorrow. Bye bye and have a nice evening.